Hey there, welcome back to Hungry for More podcast. I'm Robin. This is my dear friend Jennifer and business partner, where we are your mindset and nutrition coaches. And our podcast is something that we offer to you guys to really help you with what we feel is such an important piece missing in the industry, in the fitness industry, in the weight loss industry. And that is about focusing on the mindset piece of changing your mental composition, where all of your habits, desires, hunger, a lot of your hunger comes from. And when you can become aware of that and to learn how to respond differently, everything changes. And then, yes, the healthy principles that's taught in the industry can come together and work for your good. So today is one of those topics. It's a mindset shift that we want to help you with, especially as we're thinking about this new year coming up. We know that we tend to, as the new year comes and that energy of starting anew, that we tend to point our minds towards wanting to improve upon ourselves. And we're wanting to take our health more seriously. And we're wanting to really this time, get after this thing that I've been working on and I want to shed the weight. And we know that this is a popular time for that. And that's great. But what if you are starting off with the right mindset, especially when it comes to the body? So jump in, Jen, what do you think?
Well, I think it's the perfect time to do it and to jump in and do it before the new year, because like you said, so often right now, we've done our holiday podcast, which if you haven't watched that, go watch it. We're still in the holiday season. So watch that. But to be able to really get that true body positivity where, you're in the process, I think once you understand the positivity, what I have found for me is the clock stops feeling like a race. It stops feeling like I got to do it before here. I got to do it before here, because you're in the process of doing that. And it just makes it more peaceful, really.
Yeah.
And just going, all right, I'm doing this and it's going to take me a little bit of time.
Yeah. Perfect. So let's kind of talk about what's been trending here, and what we've observed, at least in conversations we've had, is that, we've had for decades, for a long, long time, one end of the spectrum with body positivity. And it was about like, here's the perfect ideal body. And this is how all women should look. This is what body type is most valuable, most attractive. This is how you do it. Like there's a lot of that, like, what's my word? Like you can't meet the standard, impossible standards.
Well, we need to understand that your body, we're not talking, what am I trying to say? Body weight goes up and down. There are times in your season where you're a few pounds up, you're a few pounds down, and that's normal. I go through that cycle.
Sure.
We're talking about, well, this is where I'm at. I'm doing it. I'm still being conscious and all that. We're not talking about huge swings, right? Like it's normal to gain a little weight here and then lose a little weight here in just the regular cycle of life. So I want to clarify that, because people get this number that's just unreasonable. You may touch it, and then
I've been there before.
You're not probably maintaining it, not without torture and pain.
Right. Exactly. So we've lived under this, kind of societal standard expectation, women's body, this is what's valuable, this is what's beautiful, and all that. And yes, and the diet industry has matched that. Okay. We're going to give you all the tools and we're going to give you all the things to get you to the standard. And thankfully, I think we've collectively decided that this is not working for us. This is harmful, especially to women, and that we need to change. But just like anything, it seems that I've observed in history, like when something is so dysfunctional and needs to change, it kind of swings to the equal opposite energy. And this is something that we have concern about, where it's like, yes, let's strip that down. Let's heal this. But what we've seen swing the other way is, this kind of idea of like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to live up to that. I'm not going to even give that attention. And so we swing here, and we still kind of get to a place where like, whatever, I don't care, and treat the body however I want, and disconnect from my body, and then I'll feel better about it. Right. So there are effects from this that are not healthy. And the fact of the matter is, food interacts with our bodies. Okay. Not just with our weight. Yes, with our weight, and how much weight we carry in our bodies does have an impact on our health, can have an impact on our health, but also how they make us feel and how they impacts, right? So for me, I know there's certain foods that are really inflammatory for me, and I feel the brain fog, I feel a lot of fatigue. And those are symptoms that have nothing to do with a few extra pounds, but it's paying attention to that and knowing that is something I'm willing to do for the sake of my body, because I care about my body and I want her to feel good.
Right. Right.
So how do we get out of this extreme where we're not obsessed of having the perfect body, but we're also not like, screw it, I don't care, I'm not going to, follow that trend. But then we're over here having unhealthy effects, and we're still not in a place where we're really taking mindful, loving care of a body. So there is a middle ground that we talk about a lot, right? We love the middle way.
Yeah, there is a middle ground. And, sorry, I don't even know if you said this. I think we talked about how it's so much like a relationship.
We have, yeah, right? Exactly.
A relationship with anyone. Could be a relationship with your children, a relationship with your friends, a relationship with your spouse, whoever that is. It's very similar to it. And we're going to kind of touch on some points. Before we touch on those, do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, no. So that's exactly it. So where we want to point your mindset, where we want to point you on how you're seeing your body, it's less about filling yourself with mantras like, I love my body, it's so great, and all these things to help you feel better about it. It's to see, first of all, that it's a relationship. It's not your identity. It's not who you are. Okay. It's a relationship you have. And it's the closest relationship, the most intimate relationship you have, because it's always with you. Okay. And so, yes, first of all, shifting that mindset over to my body, I'm in relationship with my body. That's the huge first shift. And now, as we understand that that's the relationship, the role we have 4 principles for you that's really going to help you strengthen this relationship and have a healthy relationship with it, which in turn turns to true body positivity. This is where true body positivity comes from. Again, it's not from saying, I'm just going to look in the mirror and just say nice things to myself every day and just feel better about it. It's deeper than that, just like any relationship, right? So the first principle.
Okay, so the first one is to have loving thoughts and realistic expectations. And if I could say that like in bold, in quotes, realistic expectations. There is, so often we're like, we have an event in 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, I got to not eat. And I got to just or you're beating yourself up because, you've kind of let it go and now something's here and you're frustrated. So what are those realistic expectations? Is it a number on the scale?
Yeah.
It's not.
Right. No.
It's not. It's understanding that it's a process. We're going to love ourselves. Think about somebody, if I'm thinking about my child and having realistic expectations, if I want them to go and play the piano, I don't expect them to be Mozart on day 3.
Right.
I expect that it's going to take years of practice.
Right.
And understanding. And we were talking about how basketball professional athletes have coaches. They still practice. They still miss free throws. They still miss penalty kicks. They still miss all of it. And they're amazing at what they do, but it's still practice. So it's having those realistic expectations. Yeah.
I think that's an area we've been really, really unfair with our bodies in this relationship, that we have placed unfair, not even sometimes impossible expectations of, listen, I'm going to follow this regimen and you're going to respond to it just so, and you're going to show me on the scale that this is working. Right. And the expectations around that, how fast we expect transformation, how fast we expect ourselves to transform into a person who suddenly just only eats clean or never wants sugar again. And so I think this is something that these unfair expectations have created and breeded a lot of resentment towards our bodies. I hear a lot of, are we having technical? Are we good?
A little, but you're okay now.
Okay. So where there's that resentment where you're like, my body never pulls through for me. Like, she lets me down. She doesn't work the right way. She doesn't work like other bodies do. And I know that we can feel like we have a ton of evidence for that, but when we think this way, that's exactly the energy our body has to obey. And I think that's something we can go deeper into another podcast. Right. But what we're saying to ourselves about how we are around food, how we are around our bodies, and what we're saying to our bodies, that really matters. And just like any relationship, you cannot tell your child all day long all the ways they are wrong and disappoint you and don't do what's right and that you wish they were different, and then expect that child to be drawn to you and feel loved by you. Right. We That's all you're saying.
Stories of that. When you're pointing out all the flaws and focusing on that, it's almost like you're manifesting what it's becoming. right?
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
you become your thoughts. And so when you think about it in the way of a relationship, think about somebody you love so dearly that you would love them and have these positive thoughts and realistic expectations for change for them, and have it for yourself and for your body.
Yeah, you guys, this is really, really important. That's why it's listed number one.
Yeah.
It's so important to put that in. And it's so different than what we're used to doing. Notice how you're thinking about your body.
Yeah.
Correct it. Up level it. If anything, most people, if you're having a hard time thinking of how to up level, the emotion or the type of thinking that seems to be accessible to most of us when we're in that negative place is to uplift it to gratitude. At the least, we can be like, you know what? I'm grateful for you, body, because I'm here having this experience. Without this body, I can't hug my family, right? I can't go and serve and do the things I love. So if anything, lean on gratitude. That's a super high level loving type of thought and energy that you can point to. And then you can continue to cultivate other loving thoughts. But yes, notice those, correct them, up level them on the spot. Okay, second one, when you love someone and when you have a healthy relationship with someone, it's because you feel heard, right? So I'm going to feel loved by someone when I know they're listening to me and they care about what I'm saying, and vice versa, right? I want to be a good listener to my spouse and to my children and to anyone I come in contact. So that's number two. Listen. So how does that work with the body?
That's harder for me sometimes than the first one.
Yeah.
So it's really just sticking there. So, I mean, listening to the body, your body will tell you your needs.
All of them. It
will tell you all of them. We're not even just talking about food, physical, emotional, all of it. And so it's really listening to your body and not ignoring her. Like, she's telling you exactly what she needs.
Yeah. So let's give some examples of that. You know, again, because of how we've been conditioned through these impossible standards and the industry, we're taught to listen to somebody else to tell us what to do and how to do it. So that's one way we've already been conditioned out of listening to the body. Another way is that we've been taught that food is the answer to other needs besides just fuel and, you know, the pleasure of it. And so we also will at times have a need being expressed, and we answer it with food because we're just taught that that's going to take away, that's going to comfort me, that's going to meet the need for the moment. And so we're not really listening. And like you said, the body is always expressing every need. There's no way for you to be self-aware about any part of your experience in this life without your body. It's coming no other way. Even those of us who are spiritual, it's through the body that we feel the things, right? And so having this commitment to this relationship and saying, I'm going to listen to you. I want to hear what you're saying to me. I want to hear what you're asking me. When you do this practice with food, you will see that all the other things that are being expressed to you needs, you will also hear them. And then you're going to be willing to meet those needs, which I'm giving you a clue what's coming next. But staying here on the listening real quick, sometimes when you become a conscious eater and you learn how to listen and have this beautiful relationship, you will hear from your body a need expressed to rest, right? And so many times we've done so much coaching around this. When people feel tired and want to rest, they believe they're like, I ate because I kept feeling tired. And it's like, well, but she's asking you to rest, right? Why won't we do that? Why do we have such a hard time? Well, it's because we have these beliefs that to be productive and to get more done is more valuable, right? Is a better thing to do. But when you really just say, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to trust you that when you're asking something of me, I'm going to give you what you need and trust that that's it. And I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to feel guilty for it because what I'm doing is meeting this need.
You know, it's so funny that you say that and you use rest, because I have a to-do list I make every day, usually in the morning or the night before. And I actually put a R at the top of the page for rest. And I may use it. It doesn't mean I could take a power nap. I could just take 20 minutes to do nothing, lay there with my eyes shut, whatever it is. And what I found for me is putting it on the list meant it put me up there, and I made sure that I took the time for me because it was something to do. So it took away that, oh, you have 20 minutes, you could be doing something else. Nope, I'm getting something done that's on the list.
Yeah.
And I find I function so much better when I take 20 to 30 minutes for me.
Right. That's a good little brain hack there, putting it on the list of things,
Now it's a to-do item.
as part of my
Not
day.
something you have to squeeze in. It has to be done.
Right. And sometimes we might not have access to actual laying down rest, but it may be, let me just, turn off the stuff going on and give my mind a rest.
Yeah.
Let me close my eyes at my desk for a minute and just breathe, whatever, which is our third. I just got to notice.
Yeah, it just glitched, but now it's good again.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Technical stuff. We're back.
Okay.
So yeah.
You go. No, you go. You're good.
So yes, moving on to the third thing, we listen. And then number 3 is we meet the need that's being expressed. Correct. Without feeling guilty about it, right? Without judging it.
Right. This is what I need. This is what we're going to do. And when you do that, I mean, it's the same. If you're noticing here, it's starting to sound a little bit like our conscious eating practice, right? Yep. Listen to your body, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. But it's also that way with other needs. I mean, there's times where I'm like, I'm so tired. I need to get up and go on a walk, and it re-energizes me, right? So I'm listening, my body's going, you're tired, not sleepy tired, but just like, oh, I need to be re-energized. We call it an exercise snack. So normally in the past I would go and eat, but at that point my body's like, nope, you need to get up and get moving. So I'll go on a 15-minute walk, and all of a sudden I'm re-energized. It's meeting that need and I'm ready to roll again. But listening to and then meeting the need is so key, because if we listen and do nothing about it, then there's not really, who cares if you're listening?
Right. Again, it's no different than being in a relationship where someone expresses a need to, and you're like, I hear you, but I don't care. I'm going to do what I want anyway.
I'm going to just keep walking.
Yeah, exactly. So that is what is true, loving relationship is being able to listen and to give and to take care of what needs to be taken care of. And so, one of the things that comes up when I think about meeting the needs is how this can create discomfort, because now we've shifted the mindset and we're prioritizing these things. And it may be that you get the signal from your body that's like, thanks, I'm done eating, I've had enough. And you're like, but I paid $15 for the salad and there's 5 bites left. I don't want to waste it, right? I don't want these leftover. Or maybe you are not hungry at all, but you see some yummy food come into the office or, comes to you at home, and you're like, but I want it. And now as we're listening and doing this practice, and we're prioritizing the need of the body being expressed, now that we're not going to answer with the food, there can be some of that discomfort. And again, am I willing to sit with that discomfort so that I can do the most loving thing in this moment? And boy, does that bleed into so many other things,
and it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. We have one of our clients who's just now dealing with that, right? She's re-engaging. She's like, I've been unconscious. I am completely reconnecting. And all of a sudden you feel a lot, right? Because normally you would be eating to cover that or to mask it. And it's hard to feel that. So you got to listen and then meet those needs.
Yeah. And it is the most loving answer. It's the best thing you can do. All right. And then the fourth thing is, when healthy relationships, anyone we have a healthy relationship with, we make time for them. Right. Absolutely. So no different than with our body. Now, you may notice as I say that, listening to this, there's some resistance inside, like in your gut, you resisted this because one of the things that we have incorrectly portrayed is that it takes a lot of time to take care of a body. And, it has to be this big morning routine and regimen. And on the weekends, you're cooking all weekend. No, but you have to at least make time, first and foremost, to listen and to meet your needs. Like that's really what the time is required. And it's mental effort. Right. But it's the reason we put this on the list is because I hear so much. It's a busy time of year. This is going on in my life. All of this stuff is on my plate. I don't have time to even think about this. People aren't even willing to think because they think it takes up time. Right. And so.
It's that whole putting it on the back burner until you're ready to roll. Yeah. You can be doing it every day. All of these things every day. And it doesn't take extra time.
It doesn't. And it rolls and rolls and rolls. And if you can be patient and show up in love and loving relationship with these steps, it will accumulate. In fact, do you have the thing that we were talking about earlier? I think
yeah. Let me share. I'm kind of rewording it, and I'm going to reword it. Oh no, it's not on here. Hold on. I'm going to reword it to match what we're talking about, and then I'll post it in our Facebook group. So, conscious eating for 1 day, no visible change. Conscious eating for 30 days, not really any change. You may feel different, but nobody's going to notice. And you may not really notice with your clothes if weight loss is your thing. 3 months of conscious eating, you're starting to see a visible change, and it comes more easily, and it's not as hard to do it. 1 year of conscious eating, you're unrecognizable. All of a sudden you're going to be like, I cannot believe where I was a year ago compared to where I am now. And it's process, right? It's not having those unrealistic expectations. It's getting there, because what happens is when you get to that 1 year or 18 months or wherever that is for you, you haven't just changed your body, you've changed your mind. And so it's lasting changes. We have people that we've worked with for a year who have lost 20 pounds that they will never gain back again.
Right.
Because they've learned their practice, and they're in such a good body positivity state, because all of a sudden they know it's not about this swing this way, swing this way, back and forth, back and forth. They're just staying in that middle ground.
Yeah. These principles are what cultivate true body positivity, because we show up in love in this relationship, and in return, our body returns that, right? And we can get in sync with, when we have loving thoughts, when we make time for people, when we listen and meet needs, you feel positive towards them. You feel more loving towards them. And that is what we're seeking to do with our bodies. It's not about shape shifting this body to the ideal weight so that then you can approve of her, and now others can approve of her and take her more seriously and whatever. That's not your body's job to validate you, right? It's job to serve you. That's really what its job is. And as we can apply these principles, we are going to create a very loving relationship, which that, you guys, is what body positivity is really all about. So let's take this into the new year.
Absolutely. And it's so necessary. It's so necessary. You will sail into the new year feeling so much more at peace and so calm, and get to those goals. We'll be having this conversation in a year, and you'll be like, amazed at where you are. Just apply those 4 principles of love and fair expectations, listening, meeting the needs, and then make the time to do that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay,
Very good.
awesome.
Thanks, you guys.
See you later.